We're live. Your marker is Ivan Ronaldson. It's the semifinals of the
first single semifinal for 2023 U.S. Open Amateur. Eric Barker to serve.
Testing.
Rob Shenkman to receive its best of 3 6-game sets. Love all.
Okay, Eric Barker serving. Robert Shenkman receiving. There's a perfect example of the home court advantage. Robert slightly misreading the serve, forcing high, and then misreading the tambour. So we've got Noah Moats in the box with us after a big doubles win in the semis against the Philadelphians, Freddie Bristow and Henry Smith. Thought you played excellently, Noah. Give us your thoughts on the match.
Yeah, I think home court advantage had a lot to play in the win, but super excited to be in the finals against 2 unbelievable opponents. So looking towards that. This is going to be another fun match. It's 2 people with very similar play styles, defensive and nobody really attacking targets, except Shenkman certainly can hit them more than Eric likes to. Would you say?
2 chases.
Yeah, I think, they're definitely both attritional type players. Robert, in the past, I'd say 3 or 4 years, has really improved his target hitting. He's hit the gym, so he's gotten a bit stronger, puts a little bit more on the ball. I think Eric will rely on pace from his opponents a lot of times. Excellent volleyer, especially on reactions. See acknowledgement of the gallery in the marker by Robert there, as many English players will do. I've never been much for doing that.
30-15 server. Hazard worse than second gallery.
Noah feels weird doing it too, everyone, to our 15 concurrent viewers. So neither of us will be doing it tomorrow in the double. He's going to do it in the doubles final. I will not be doing it in the doubles final. Could make a... Yeah. I'm just going to fire up. Maybe I'll acknowledge Ryan Carey by looking directly into the camera. Good get there by Robert. Ooh! So he won that chase. Is that a hazard? 30 all. So 30 all here in the first game. Everyone sort of getting their bearings. Robert had a game plan going into this match of mostly serving Eric bobbles. I think we saw, it's a great get by Eric. We saw him have a little bit of difficulty in the previous singles match. Solid force for the get for the grill there from Robert. Yeah, talk to us about Eric's sleeve situation that he's got. Another unbelievable get off the tambour. Eric's making this look easy, but also very dramatic.
Game server, 1 game to love.
Yeah, not quite sure what's going on with the wardrobe, but I'm not gonna say anything bad about it because it seems to work. I wonder if he could get away with maybe sleeveless shirt with a collar. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean. I just think we should talk him through, give it a chance. I mean, I would imagine most clubs would be against the sleeveless shirt, and maybe Eric would. He seems to go with one sleeve up and the other down. Just wearing sleeves. Yeah, no one wants to win points quick. Yeah. So, I find it hard to have any criticisms on Shenkman given his 10-point
15 love
difference from me. But loves that fat boast.
30 love.
I'm not sure if it works, but then again, his strategy is just to get the ball back into play, and that does it.
Yeah, I think on this court, it's not going to be as effective of a shot for him as somewhere else, like in New York, where the court's super hard. Well marked by Eric there in his own favor for hazard better than half. We, on this side of things, would agree with that call. Charlie Michel. Looks like something might be wrong with Eric's right sleeve. And Max Truman giving his support to Robert Shenkman. Max, Charlie. Good to be hearing from you both. Speaking of contrasting styles of play, I'd say, Max Truman and Charlie Michel would probably be two people who you'd say are about as different in terms of body type and game playing style as you could come across. You're not familiar with Charlie Michel? They call him the body in tuxedo.
Has it better than half.
Max Truman, still a bit slight figure, needs to hit the gym harder. Get on Robert Shenkman. Good shot by Robert, beating the hazard chase.
2 games to love.
So just up 2 love. So Noah, if you're in Eric's shoes and you've got a 15-point difference in your handicap and you're in a similar playing style situation to your opponent like Robert, what do you like with his game? Assuming that you're a similar player to Eric, right? What are you trying to focus on? What are you trying to accomplish?
I think this is going to sound like not great advice, but try to make it weird, I guess. Hit some shots that you wouldn't expect Shenkman to see, maybe. Because Eric's not big on hitting anything that's going to put Shenkman under pressure, and Rob's the better retriever of the two anyway. So I don't know. Maybe try to go for some fat boasts or something to use the court to your advantage, because Rob's still relatively new to it. But I think for the most part, this might be pretty straightforward. And Eric's also dealing with some injuries. I think he's keeping it to himself, Mr. Cipriano, right now. Yeah.
30-15.
No, I'm not sure. I think he had. Yeah, it was mostly. Yes. We'll just say upper body injury. Yeah, but he'll be fine by tomorrow's final. That's the biggest thing to know.
30-all.
Some would say Eric is the Michael Jackson of court tennis, is sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber there. Good shot and a bit of an odd screech from Robert on the receiving end there. .24 concurrent viewers, maybe touching our.
Hazard half a yard.
We got 25. Touching our all-time high for this tournament. So great to have all of you with us. Good shot by Robert there, using the unusual tambour angle to his advantage. It's 40-all. Deuce. It's a good serve there from Robert, basically taking all the pace off, trying to force Eric to put something on the ball, which he failed to do, and creates a good opportunity for himself, which he's able to convert. So I think the key for Robert here is just to keep doing what he's doing, keep the feet moving, keep trying to step into the ball, find your targets. It looks like he's making Eric uncomfortable with that serve. So as I said, step into the ball. He didn't take my advice there.
Juice.
Classic floor play here. Pierre Etchebaster would be very happy.
Juice.
I heard somewhere there was a clip of him playing. Have you seen it? What's the level like?
He's about 150 years old, I think, in the video, and
First
they're
in the yard.
very possibly using regular tennis balls. So for those of you who haven't seen the video, it's Alistair Martin, who is about 6'4" or 5. Ogden Phipps, a bit past his prime physically. Some would say that he had he was body doubling for Charlie Michel, and a very aged Pierre Echebaster.
Juice.
You know, the balls,
Hazard,
if they
worse
weren't
than
tennis
yard.
balls, they certainly looked like them. They were bouncing like crazy. Had very long swings. Ogden Phipps, I would say, had like the sort of classical technique, heavy outside cut, sort of the Tim Chisholm style. Pierre was much more of a long swing. You could tell he was an excellent retriever in his day.
Advantage.
And
Worse
Alistair
than 1
Martin
yard.
was just a monster. Didn't look like technically he had quite the same qualities as the other guys, but you know, very hard to get the ball by him, especially in the doubles game they're playing. So a bit of a good force there from Robert. Back to deuce.
Oh,
Eric still struggling with his shirt situation. Or succeeding, depending how you look at it. Thank you.
better than the door.
Chase better than the door there.
Juice.
So we haven't seen very many. Whoa, wow to get behind the back by Eric.
And the
And
line.
he's a bit upset with himself, Robert, for not hitting the target there. That was pretty solid. Wondering, you know, we haven't seen a lot of winning galleries hit today or yesterday. I'm not sure if that's the court or just the players or whatever. But you guys have a gong in the winning gallery, which Freddie Bristow tested out prior to his match and almost put a hole in my eardrum. Is that a holdover from the old court, or what sort of features on this court have carried over, if any?
Yeah, the gong is we took it from the old court. Felt like it was just a part of our community, so we needed nice, good shot.
Advantage server. Chase the line.
I think that the galleries here are significantly smaller by design, just to try to promote longer rallies and limit the amount of galleries that you could just chip easily under the grill. But
Game server. 3
that does
games
make
to
for
love.
it to be a little bit more difficult to hit those winning galleries in the serving end.
Hello, Tim in Rhode Island. He's not from Rhode Island, maybe, but he's definitely in Rhode Island. So there's not a lot on that ball from Eric. He's sort of just coming over it. He's set up to hit a proper cut shot, and then he's, I think,
15
not
love.
necessarily
receiver.
being lazy, but being a bit too careful. Even though he won that point, he gave Robert 3 or 4 opportunities to put some cut on the ball, which Robert also failed to do. So,
Last gallery.
decent choice by Eric there to try to get back to the serving end. See if Robert can string a couple points together, or if Eric's going to get himself back over on the other side. Great get by Robert. So that's sort of getting
15 all.
punished, and I think Robert's going to be looking to poach those. He's very solid on the deep backhand. Technically very, very good. So I think he's going to like that matchup.
15 all. 2 chase.
Another hazard, changing ends at 15 all. 3 love first set. So Jake sounding in the gong is an attribute from the Cherry Blossom tournaments. So
15 all. Chase last gallery.
Ryan Carey saying that he and Michael Doe put the gong in the winning gallery during the Cherry Blossom.
30-15 Hazard.
And he
worse
kept it
than
in
the
there
other.
because people liked it. It scared me, I have to be honest. No, I turned my head like someone was gonna like hit me in the face or something. It was very scary. It was the most scared I've been probably in, gosh, since I watched a horror movie last week, perhaps. And that was a scary movie. Good shot by Robert.
40-15. Chase the line. 40-15.
Were they playing off a chase there, or was that just a bit of frustration? Oh, you're from Newport as well as in Newport, Tim. Good to hear. Hope the weather in Newport's a bit better than down in D.C. Very low visibility on the drive home last night. I almost drove into oncoming traffic on my way back to the Westin. Luckily made it back safely, and we're in the finals of the doubles. It would have been much tougher to do if I were dead.
Game server, 4 games to love.
4 games to love for Shenkman. A poor return from Eric there. And I think he's going to look to convert this set 6 love. Again, that bobble giving Eric a lot of trouble.
Love.
Yeah, I think it's a good strategy. Try to make Eric generate some pace, something he's not too fond of. He can do it on a volley. He's got good timing.
Chase better than 3. 15 love.
Good ball. Yeah, cut. The court takes cut. It punishes you if you don't cut it, which is frustrating. So there's a win. Yeah.
30 love.
Yeah, we love the gong.
Yeah, I was going to say it's always interesting to compare and contrast courts, and this being the newest one. It's got sort of attributes from every court that I'm thinking of. So, for example, it's got sort of pretty good severity coming off the walls with heavy cut, similar to New York. It's got a floor similar to Chicago, being that they're both very new and haven't been sort of worn in yet. Tambour is a tuxedo tambour. The galleries are similar to Chicago, being a bit smaller. And I think the gameplay is a bit closer to the Chicago court. Tim grew up in one of the mansions. Good to hear, Tim, that you had a nice lifestyle as a child, and we hope that you have stayed in one of said mansions in Newport. I'll be going to Newport in the 4th of July weekend, which is my nightmare. With my children. If Noah wants to stick around, I'd be happy to receive a lesson or not a lesson from you, depending on your professional/amateur status. Free lesson. Or I can give a free lesson to him. We'll see. Probably the other way around. A winning gallery from Eric. So, we've seen more winning galleries in this match after I mentioned it than the entire tournament combined, I'd say, for a grand total of about 4. Weak boast return there from Robert. And Eric finally stepping into one.
Stroke.
Just a little bit of extra cut there from Robert. Won the rally. Is that a chase? 40-30 stroke.
Chase better than 2. 40-30.
The one thing I'll say, James did a very good job marking, I think, all the matches. However, if there's one area of concern, it's missing calls on faults. He missed many calls on service faults in our match that I could, in my opinion, were faults, and Noah seems to be concurring.
40-30. Server leads better than 2.
Sorry. I will, to defend James, it is pretty difficult to see the fault line here, because
Lost the chase.
for whatever reason, with the light reflection
Game
on
server,
the
5
penthouse,
games to
it's
love.
hard to see the fault line. So to come come to James's defense that I don't think it's all on him. Having marked a few matches here, it can be tricky.
Yeah, speaking of that, I would personally be majorly in favor of a dark paint job for the penthouse. Noah seems to concur there. I would imagine that he would have a lot more success than I, speaking to the powers that be about said penthouse paint job. But he's shaking his head, I guess, low on the totem pole. What color would we go for from Ryan Carey? I would go for something similar to the rest of the court. Yeah, I find it difficult no matter what on the return to see the ball off the penthouse. Same with Chicago. It's not my favorite. Yeah, it is hard for streaming. So Ryan Carey should, presumably be in favor of a dark penthouse as well, because he's the king of the live stream.
This could be a question for the comments as well. Are there any fun courts with different colored penthouses? Are they all relatively bland?
Like Robert said, Middlesex is a light color. Question from Charlie and Michelle. Any of these players have an Arsenal-esque collapse in their locker? Well, seeing as only one of them is winning the match very easily, I guess it would have to be Shenkman. However, I just don't see that happening. I don't think that Eric Barker has the same qualities as Manchester City. I'd say he's more like he's plucky. Oh, what a get. Yeah, he's more of like a Newcastle pre-Eddie Howe. Big money from the Sevens. I think we saw another comment in the comment section. Ryan, can we go back to that? I'd like to address the comments.
30 all.
Loss of a chase, 30 all. Yeah, it's tough. I think Eric, if he's going to have any chance of getting back in this set or starting next set, it could be a sleeve issue. I think it also is, if he's going to be hitting that railroad, he's got to get it lower on the back wall. That's a great shot from Robert.
40-30.
Hatfield's penthouse is pink there. Ryan Carey. You can't hear him, folks, but he's on point.
40-30.
I don't think anyone wants orange balls. Sorry. Yellow works for everyone involved. What color were the cherry blossom balls? They're white. They're purple. That would have been extremely dangerous for a person like myself. Especially if Noah Moats is playing and he's hitting the ball 450 miles an hour at your head. So 1 set to love for Robert. He closed out the first set. 6 love. Not really having to get out of first or second gear, to be honest.
Nearly a yard worse than last gallery, 15
But demanding more from himself here in the second set. And that's a short bobble, which is not great. But he got away with it. When you can do that, you can hit short bobbles, I guess, if your opponent's not going to punish it.
If Eric's going to keep hitting that short cut volley, I don't think there are many easier shots to hit back.
Hazard half. 2 chases.
Right.
30
Noah
love.
Moats is leaving.
Chase nearly a yard worse than last
commentator's
Garrett.
box. It's back to Cipriano Carey. Ryan putting in the hard work. Bill Barker's back. Stepping in, beer in hand. Bill well played in our doubles match.
Hazard. Time.
What are we
Hazard
thinking here?
chased
We
half
think
a
the
yard.
young Barker has a chance to get back in this. What does he need to do?
15-40.
He has no chance. Here's the thing. Rob's plus, fraction of a point. Eric's like
30-40.
rusty 14. There should never be a time that this goes any way other than to the favorites. And I think Eric's playing well, but he's looking forward to the final of the doubles tomorrow. I don't think he wants this to go particularly long. He's happy, very happy with his doubles result, and well played, Peter. Earlier today, you guys were tough, and I look forward to that match tomorrow. Eric is through to the final with Noah.
30 love.
They had a great win in the semi. You guys had like a mediocre win in the semi over the fathers of Eric and Noah, but
40
it's going to be something I look forward to.
Very much looking forward to it myself. As a fan of court tennis, it's great to see some of the younger guys finally breaking through into the big matches, making it to finals. I think last few years, the older crowd, the Pat Winthrops, the Todd Maringoffs, the John Krolls of the world just squeak out victories over some of these young guys. I think Eric had a close one with Pat. Pete Dickinson had a close one with Kroll, or it was the other way around maybe. So maybe it's that they're not here. Maybe it's that these boys have gotten better. Yeah, Pete was 6'5" with Pat. And I think Eric gave Kroll some problems as well. So finds himself in a final of a U.S. Amateur. Hopefully Robert and I will be able to teach him a bit of a lesson, but we'll see.
So let's talk about the format for tomorrow. It's best 3 out of 5. A lot of us aren't used to matches of that length, and typically the singles finalists and the doubles finalists are the same people. Potentially 2 3 out of 5 matches. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation. Rob is looking strong right now to get through to the semi. Noah's got his work cut out for him against Freddie, but I think that's going to be a great match. And Rob looks like he's got 2 best of 5 matches back to back tomorrow. If Noah can get past Freddie, same thing.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. Certainly, it's one you obviously do want to be in if you're playing singles and doubles. I'd say for Robert, I think the good thing about being partners with me for him is that we both can play back to a pretty high standard, or a high enough amateur standard. So if he wants to take, a set off, for example, and just play up and get his legs back, he can do that. We did that last year in the USAM final, and it worked out just fine. I would think that Eric's talent is certainly utilized better up at the net. He's an excellent reaction volleyer. I think Noah's objectively much better and stronger on the floor, and technically better, just physically stronger guy. So if Noah manages to get by Freddie, I would think that we might have a little bit of an advantage there, especially if him and Robert have a long singles, which they very well may. And if Freddie manages to get past Noah, I think Noah and Eric will just be ready to go, ready to fire up.
Now, make no mistake, if Noah beats Freddie, that's the win of his life. And I don't know that many of us have a win as good as being Freddie Bristow at the level he's playing at. It's Noah's court. If you're watching this match live, you got to watch Noah and Freddie in their semi coming up after this. My son's on the court. This is not going to last much longer. I'll just say that. I mean, Rob is the stronger player, and he's playing well, and Eric is playing well, but he's not Rob's match. They met at a Jester's camp when Eric was 12. Went to England. It was at Radley. Get this, the instructors for tennis were John Lumley and Chris Ronaldson, and for rackets, Will Hopton. I mean, that's a lineup. And Eric was there, 12 years old. Rob was 17, whatever he was. Eric was the youngest participant, and Eve, Rob's sister, was there too. Some other players, of course, and I think Eric. He hasn't done any commentating yet, but I mean, if he does, I think he still refers to that as the best week of his life, and just tons of fun. Thank you to the British Jesters for putting that together. I hope they do it again. It was formative for these two guys, I think, and they had a lot of fun and known each other ever since, and probably be on courts together for, 40, 50 years. But I hope it was a thing. I think Freddie Adam was integral to putting that all together. Obviously, Radley's willing to do it. But junior players, game needs it. Rackets, there was rackets, there was tennis, there was supposedly supposed to be some squash, but I don't think there really was. But it was great fun, and they're playing each other. I think maybe. Well, no, they played each other in some events, but not in singles.
40-30.
And they'll be playing doubles tomorrow with you.
Very good. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Jesters. My first exposure to court tennis was on a 75th English Jesters Jubilee. That was my father's date, I believe, at age 15. So we toured around the country, went to Cambridge, Oxford, and then ended up in London. So either one of the two courts, Cambridge or Oxford, was the first time I stepped on a tennis court, and I thought it was really cool.
You mentioned your dad, and in a previous match, we were talking about injuries that we've suffered at the Whitney Cup. I ruptured my Achilles there one year, and got a great note from your dad, who I really don't particularly know well at all, but wrote a nice note about, did he do that? He had a recovery from something, I guess, and it gave me some encouraging outlook on it. So that was great, and I appreciated that, and that was part of the sort of the whole Whitney Cup thing.
Yeah, I think the Achilles injuries are tough ones for anyone, so I think he was feeling for you. From his perspective, it certainly hasn't helped his mobility on the squash court, which was, I think he would characterize it as glacial prior to the injury, and now would characterize it as tectonic.
Can we talk about a match, I don't know if it's apocryphal or not, about his playing Mark Talbot? Why don't you tell that story?
So for those of you who are not familiar with who Mark Talbot is, he was the #1 squash player, hardball squash player in the world during the 80s. And my father was a pretty good club level player. He picked up the game at Princeton, and it seems like the Ciprianos have some addiction situations going on, so he became addicted to squash and started playing 9 times a week. Became a jester, I think, in '88, and shortly thereafter they were playing a fixture versus the Yale varsity team. So my father played against, I believe it was the number 5 or 6 Yale player, and beat him in 4 games, played well, happy with himself. He's in the locker room, and I forget who the coach, it might have been Dave Talbot at the time. It was Dave Talbot was the coach of Yale even back then. And when he asked my father, he said, we've got a guy coming from the JV, I think he's the number 10 or 12 player. His name's Sam Fraden. Would you be willing to play him? My dad's like, I guess I will. I'm already showered up, but, whatever. It's all in good fun. And I think the people are starting to finish the matches, starting to get into the cocktails. My dad steps on court, and he's waiting for this guy to show up. He's a bit late. And guy walks on court. He's got long hair. He's wearing sunglasses and a bandana over his head. He's about 30 pounds overweight, and he's in full sweats. And he's got weird strokes. My dad's sort of thinking to himself, this guy is like a real weirdo. He looks bizarre. And he has very strange affect. And he gave my dad one of the wet fish handshakes. And they started playing, and I think Guy Sip was winning maybe like 1-love or 2-love, and then the third game, I think he was up maybe like 10-5 or something, and he hit like a double boast. And Sam Fraden basically like leapt in area. Fake Sam Fraden, who wound up being Mark Talbot, which everyone in the gallery was aware of and watching intently, except for my father, who was on court. He was just in the zone. So he hits a double boast, and Talbot runs up, does basically a split, and volleys the double boast. At which point, my father, most people on earth would not be capable of volleying the double boast. He knew something was up. Eric just got a game, so we're going to some clapping going on in the gallery. So the long and short of it was, my father winds up losing the match to Sam Fraden and walks off court, and he's enraged. And the other thing that the Ciprianos have been known for is to have a bit of a nasty temper, especially back in those days. So I'm sure that there may have been a racket smash or some choice words. And as they're walking off the court, I think people say, tough match guy, whatever, and he's like basically, mumbling under his breath some profanities. Gets showered up, goes down to the dinner, and at the dinner, Dave Talbot's announcing the results in the match, and the last result is the Sam Fraden Guy Cipriano match. And Dave, at that point, lets it be known to my father that it wasn't Sam Fraden that he was playing, it was Mark Talbot. And everyone died laughing. So it's a famous jester story. I believe he may have won the Gaff Award for that one that weekend.
Lost it better than 2.
I was teammates with the actual Sam Fraden, and his brother Matt is a court tennis player now here, Westwood, and Princess Court for many years.
Lost it for worse than 5.
I don't know what year that happened. I graduated in '87, so yeah, it happened just after I graduated. But yeah, famous story in the Jester's world. Not as famous as, probably the most famous Jester story that I've heard. But Jesters have done a lot for squash, court tennis. You got to go on one of these tours when your kids grow up a little bit. It's a phenomenal experience. Off to France with Jim Zug, Jeff Ellis, among other court tennis players, to play some of the courts there. And one of these days you got to do that, because it's a great experience.
Last gallery.
Would love to. You're going to have to talk to Dana Betts about that one. Having 3 children under the age of 6, 5, 3, and 1, not conducive for a high-quality court tennis game. a good rackets game or any sort of travel. In fact, on the phone to my wife earlier prior to this match, she said, enjoy the finals tomorrow because it's going to be your last for a very long time.
5 games to 1.
So we'll try to savor the moment, give it our best shot, and hopefully go out with a bang. But it's not looking good for me or my court tennis game or rackets game or squash game. Great get by Robert there. Eric laying into one, swinging away at the grill.
15 love serve.
Yeah, we were opining as to what the deal with the one sleeve is. Yeah, Bill's sort of saying that no one's quite sure what's going on with the
15
sleeve.
Yeah, Eric's been whining about his back and his shoulder and stuff. I don't know how pulling up his sleeve helps his shoulder. So, I don't know what to say about that. Let's talk about the next match because I don't hold out much hope that this is going to go long. Noah and Freddie, seriously, if you're watching, I think that's going to be a really, really good match. I predicted the doubles was going to be the match of the day between Eric and Noah. And hey, stick around. That's it. But I think that it's going to be a very good match.
Thanks, Bill. Signing off and looking forward to the next game. We'll be taking bets online. Please text me or email me with your bets. Thank you.